Hello, everybody. Who's here? Who's here? Please send me a message if you can hear me, if you can see me. We are now live. It's a good time to invite your friends to come on. Let's have some fun together. BLZ, hello. It's me from church. I don't know who exactly from church, but hi, welcome. Thank you so much for joining. I'm just checking on my phone to be sure that people can see me. Hi, Mohammed. Okay, you can hear me. Thank you very much. Where are you joining from, Mohammed? If you're already here, please say hello so I can know who's here. Daniela, hello. Okay, you can see and hear me. Thank you very much. Mamoke Arubasa. That sounds like a Delta name. My people, welcome. Hi, right back to you. Thank you so much, you guys, for joining. If you're here, just leave a message in the chat. Let me know. From Winnipeg. Okay, I see you. Hello, Marina from Jos, Nigeria. Hi, Oyeronke. Thank you so much for joining. Enoch from Ghana. Thank you very much. Adnan, hello. Thank you. Extra steps popping in briefly. Oh, thank you so much. I'm very well. I'm doing very well. It's 10:30 p.m. Uganda. Oh my god, I didn't realize it was that late. Sorry. Thank you so much for joining. Oh, Delta brother, I knew it. The name could not be mistaken. Thank you so much. Thank you guys for joining. Oh, I didn't realize it was so late in Uganda. Okay, thank you all so much for joining. Yabisi from Saskatoon. Teju, hi from Saskatchewan. Thank you guys so much for joining. Yeah. So yes, as usual, I thought it would be fair or it'd be nice for us to just come together and just have conversations together. Hello from the backyard, which is really backyard. Joining from Ilorin, Kwara, Nigeria. Well, thank you. Akintude, thank you. Daniela, thank you. Love from Brazil. Wow, thank you so much. Fafi from Zimbabwe, thank you so much for joining. From Kitchener, Waterloo, Ontario, Extra Steps, I see you. Thank you. Daniela, welcome. Thank you guys so much. Yes, it's always such a pleasure to have these live videos, to talk to you guys live, to get to know you guys and for you guys to get to know me. So today I thought I'm a bit behind on DMs, emails, and all those questions and messages you guys sent to me. So this will be a good opportunity for you to be able to ask the questions like right here, right now, and I'll see how many of them I can get to. So this is your chance. You can ask me what is it you want to know. It can be about Canada, it can be about Marina, like get to know Marina. Joining from Usuka, joining from South Africa, Tumi, hi. Customized treat, Tega from Lagos, another of my person. Welcome, thank you so much. From Akure, thank you. Dalila from Mozambique, I see you all. I see you all. The chats are coming in now. Thank you guys so much. Okay, so if you have questions, it'll be a good time to start to drop them so that we can go straight into them. I'll continue to acknowledge more people as they join. My own question, why are you so fine? Yeah, me see, what will we do now? It's our bad habit. It's Mr. Ethan's money. Annette from Kenya, Julia from Delta. Thank you guys so much for joining. Joining from the UK, Stella B. I see you. Thank you so much. Okay, Daniela says, will it be? Oh, let me just put this off. Put this up so it doesn't get. Will it be a strategic move to also look out for admissions in the RNIP regions and work towards getting a job there and not to optimize the RNIP pathway? So RNIP is the Rural Northern Immigration Pilot, if I'm not wrong. Will it be strategic to look out for admission in those regions? Absolutely. I think it's strategic for you to cast your net as wide as possible and consider as many options as possible so you don't limit yourself. Yeah, the opportunity can come from anywhere, so as much as possible take advantage of all the opportunities that are open, because you just never know which one will open up. Okay, so yes, strategic move, I absolutely endorse. What is the average cost of a 4-bedroom house for rent in Saskatoon? I intend moving over there soon. So I would say this depends on location, right? The price can range from for a 4-bedroom house. So I think I'll take it that you're looking for like a townhouse with a basement. that's where you will get a four-bedroom house. If the townhouse has a completed basement, that's where the extra room will be. And the price range for townhouses can range from, depending on the location, it can start from like 1,004, 1,005 Canadian dollars monthly. For those of you who are on the line who are in Saskatoon, if you know the range of this, wherever it is that you are, what is the range of a four-bedroom townhouse in the area where you live? But for me, from my rough estimation, it can start anywhere from 1,000 for $1,500 monthly. Hi Marina, thank God I'm here. I had a dream about me and you going out shopping. Look at my God. I swear you're funny. I'm looking forward to that reality. Amen. Oh, amen. I don't mind. Let's go shopping. I never say no to shopping. What's the best option to enter Canada between the pilot scheme and study? With the way Express Entry is right now, with the way Canadian immigration is right now, it's very hard to predict what's happening. But we know that with COVID and all the changes that we've heard, with all the updates that Sean Fraser, our immigration minister, has given us recently, it seems like there's going to be a lot of focus on inbound application. So it's mainly going to be people who are already within Canada, who are maybe temporary and are looking to become permanent. So that's where the focus is right now, to focus on like the Canadian experience class, people who are already here. So if you have the opportunity to consider like a study option, it might pay you to look at that, because study is never going to go away. International students are a huge source of revenue in Canada and many other countries. So that's an option that will always be open. Right now, that's like the only option I would say we are 100% sure of. The study route is never going to go away. So if you have an opportunity to consider that and consider both, you can actually consider both. There's something called dual intent, where you're studying and then you have interest to apply as a permanent resident in any of the streams as well. So dual intent is a thing, but I know that right now study pathway is about the one that we can all guarantee. So I would say look at both. Look at both. If the study is a more viable option for you right now, you can consider that. How can someone with a temporary work visa do little courses to boost him, his or herself as to enter the Canadian system? And can the 2 years give PM? Okay, I'm a bit confused. Do you want to put this? How can someone with a temporary work visa do little courses to boost his or herself to enter the Canadian system? Okay, I understand that part of the question. I don't understand the second part. So the first part, if you have a temporary visa, you can take a course that is less than 6 months. That way you will not need a study permit to take the course. I know that if you're not a permanent resident or a citizen and you're taking a course that is under 6 months, you don't need a study permit, especially if you're already in here. So you might want to consider that. And if you can find an employer who's willing to employ you and then support your application for permanent residence, that can fly. But most times it's not very easy to do that. Like if you're already here, you have a temporary visa, there are many options that are being rolled out now for the people who are here temporarily that are looking to become permanent. Because Canada is trying to tap into the people who are already within the country, there are many more options available now. So it might be easier for you to do that now, right, than it was pre-COVID. So if you're already here, you might want to look for courses that are under 6 months. That way you don't need a study permit and you can get into the system from there. If you want to clarify the second part of the question, that would be great, because I don't understand it. I'm interested in the office administrative career path. Is there a short online program I can start pending when I arrive soon? I don't advise you to start before you arrive, because right now it depends on what you're arriving as. Maybe I should start from there. If you're coming as a permanent resident, you will be better off arriving before you start, because if you start while you are outside of the country, you are going to be considered an international student and your tuition can be double and sometimes almost triple what a domestic student will pay. So if you already know that you're coming and you're arriving as a permanent resident, you're better off starting the program after you already get here. You can do the research, narrow down your option, start to reach out to them just to see what options are available to you. But I don't advise you to start before you arrive. Okay. Oh, I remember you now. You collected my mom's phone number. Okay, I remember. The name just, yeah, Mystic sounded a bit it sounded a bit strange, so I didn't know. Tell me about Manchester Metropolitan University. student life and cost of living. Can you specify where this university is? I don't believe I've heard about. Is it in Canada? Just confirm. Please provide more information so I would know what you're asking. Can you throw more light on the New Brunswick immigration pathway for 4 private colleges? I got admission in the Atlantic Business College, but I'm not sure if it's a good move to accept it. Well, did you apply to this school? Does the school, is it a DLI? Is it a designated learning institute? Does it qualify for postgraduate work permit, which means when you're done, you can actually apply for postgraduate work permit and continue to work in the province? If the answer to these questions are yes, then it's a good move to accept it. That's what I would say. Is to answer all these questions. What's the pathway? New Brunswick is one of the Atlantic provinces, and they have like immigration pathways for this school. If it's a private college, you want to double check that they are eligible to accept international students, which means they must be a designated learning institution, and they must qualify for postgraduate work permit program. If they are a DLI and they don't qualify for the postgraduate work permit program, you're going to be wasting your time, because what it means is that after you finish studying, there's nothing to keep you there. There's nothing you can hold on to and use to continue working in the province. So you want to make sure that that postgraduate work permit is in place before you accept any admission. So if the answer to these 2 questions is yes, then there's no reason why you shouldn't accept it. Okay. What tips do you have for making the application for masters at the University of Saskatchewan? Okay, so I have a couple of videos on my channel where I've talked about this. I used to work at the University of Saskatchewan in one of the graduate schools, and my primary responsibility was doing like preliminary screenings of international applications. So what I want to look at is, first of all, there's a checklist of requirements that would typically be put on the website of each of the graduate schools. How well do you meet the requirements for those checklists? The minimum entrance average in most of the graduate schools in the U of S, as at that time it was 70%. I don't know if it has changed now, but you're better off if your entrance average is way above 70%, because you're going to be competing with people who are at 80%, who are at 85%, and they're going to consider the most competitive applications first. So you want to make sure that you're putting your best foot forward. There's a general notion that I hear that if you have a 2-2, you can apply for masters. I don't totally agree with that, because the entrance average, especially at the University of Saskatchewan, is computed using the last 2 years of your education. So you can have a 2-2 and it was your first 2 years in the university that were bad. If your first 2 years were bad and your last 2 years were very good, so even if your overall class of degree is a 2-2, your entrance average for your last 2 years will be solid. So it does not totally rule you out. It is considered, the determination is done considering the last 2 years of your education, not your class of degree. So you can have a 2-2 and still be able to get in. I know a number of people who got 2-2s and they were able to get fully funded master's thesis-based programs. They got supervisors that funded them and they have landed in the University of Saskatchewan. So just make sure that you're putting your best foot forward in your application, your statement of purpose, do proper research, represent yourself properly. Be very clear with what you want. If you do a copy and paste, find a cover letter or a statement of purpose online and just copy it and paste it, the professors know. They see a lot of these things, so they can tell when they are reading something that they have seen before. That's the truth. So be as authentic as you can in your statement of purpose. Be honest in your review. Like if there's been a gap in your history, you want to address what those gaps are. If you're switching careers, you want to address the reason why you're switching careers, what your new career path looks like, and how this program that you're trying to get into fit into the new career path. Right? So whatever you do, you just want to make sure that you're checking everything. Make sure you check all the boxes, get extra eyes to look at your documentation. The last thing you want to do is be applying for a research-based course and you're making blunders in your statement of purpose. Those things don't look good at all. You know, from my experience of looking at those looking at those applications, I can tell you that it's usually a red flag when people are making mistakes. And sometimes when people have statements of purpose that are so good, applications that are so good, the email correspondence that you have with the graduate office is also very important, because you write a statement of purpose that looks so good, very impeccable grammar, no errors, but in the email you are sending, it is overtaken by blunders. You are telling the admissions office that these 2 things was not written by the same person, and chances are the email is the one you wrote. So you want to be careful. Also, you want to be professional in the way you reach out to the graduate office, because that's actually where your application assessment starts from. I have had situations where I was a member of the grad committee that came up with the final decisions. I was there providing administrative support. And there were times where the decision came down to, what was this person's correspondence with you like? When they call on the phone, what was their communication like? What was their email like? And I know one person who actually got disqualified because of his communication. There was no way I could lie for the person. Even if I say, you know what, let me just forgive the person and make excuses. It was hard. That person was going to be a problem in that course if they are coming. So all of this put together, make sure you're submitting stellar applications, no errors, getting people to double check it, and be professional in your correspondence. So that's just basically the tips that I can give you from over the top of my head, except if there are specific areas that you're looking for help on. Okay. How do you see moving to Canada alone with 3 kids and my hubby staying in Nigeria? I get this question a whole lot. Like, people who want to come to Canada to school and they're coming alone. It's not going to be easy. It is possible. It's going to be hard. I'm not even going to lie to you, because I'm here with a spouse, and it is still hard for me to manage work and going to school and doing everything that I do. So imagine that I'm here by myself without a partner. It's going to be hard, but it is doable. That's where a support system comes in. You want to make sure that you're building relationships with other people who can help. Because I know a couple of moms who are in situations like this, that have all now built a support system for themselves, where if one person has to be away, the other person steps in to watch the other people's children. So they're all taking turns to watch each other's children when all of them are not doing school at the same time. It's very possible, I'm not going to lie, but it's going to be hard. It will take you a while to settle, to build that support system, but after that, it's very possible. And hopefully, the you and your spouse being apart is not a permanent arrangement. So hopefully, that's going to be something that you only have to do for a while before your spouse joins you. But on a permanent basis, it's going to be hard. It will be hard, but it's possible. Rent is on the increase all over the provinces now. I totally agree with you. Extra steps. What kind of professional certifications do people in construction course estimating take? Can one do it online before arrival? I think this is very province specific. I know that some of this very, what they call, I can't remember the name they call them, these professions put together, they all have regulatory bodies depending on the province that you're in. So if you're sure what province you're going to, it might help you to maybe take a look at that website in the province that you're going to, if it's regulated, if it's something that you can start doing while outside the country, because some of them don't let you do anything until you have arrived in the province that you're going to. So you want to look into all of that and double check that it's something that you can even do. But right now, over the top of my head, I can't provide any more information there. For teaching certificate in Saskatchewan, can a teacher in Nigeria go through this route to relocate to Saskatchewan? I've gone through your video on this topic. So that video that I did about teaching was not exactly it's not as a route of migration, but for teachers who are already landing in Canada as permanent residents. So I don't think you can take that certification to use it to migrate. You take that program after you have arrived and you're trying to get back into your teaching profession. That's what that is. But for the teaching certification, there's only a part of that whole process you can do from outside the country. You must be here to complete it. So it's not something you can use as a means of migration. If your school don't offer postgraduate work permit, can you apply for one when you're done schooling? Can you apply for one what? Postgraduate work permit? No. If the school is not eligible for postgraduate work, so here's how postgraduate work permits work, right? Most of the designated learning institutes in Canada have to, on a yearly basis, submit their courses, the course lengths, and from start to finish, course everything to the IRCC. It's the IRCC that now lets them know which of the courses they're offering is eligible and what is not. If you apply to a school that all their courses are not eligible for postgraduate work permit, when you graduate and you take that certificate and you go to the IRCC and say, I finished studying in this school, give me postgraduate work permit, they will point you back to the fact that you went to a school that is not eligible for that program. So if the school is not eligible for postgraduate work permit, you're better off not studying there because you will not be able to get it when you're done. A couple of years ago, the IRCC was very lenient. They used to give postgraduate work permits to some schools that were not eligible. That is not happening anymore. So double check, do your findings from the beginning, because if you finish from the program and you realize you can't get postgraduate work permit, your option is number one, you're going to be required to leave the country, or you will have to enroll in another school that is eligible for the program. You will just have paid tuition for nothing. So double check that appropriately before you start, because most times they don't listen at the end. You just don't want to pay international tuition and realize that you paid it for nothing. So please do your findings from the beginning. Is it possible to get PR from the UK, master's students in the UK? What's the best way of doing it? Well, the express entry process is the same, regardless of where you are. The express entry requirements are the same. You still have to go through the normal express entry process like everybody else. The difference will just be that your location might be different from your country of residence might be different from your country of origin, but the process is the same. You have to go through the express entry route, except you're looking to apply again to come here as an international student. That way you have an option there as well. But for PR, there's no special pathway for any country. It's the same process. More so likely, how much is basement in Alberta, and can couple allowed to stay in a studio apartment? How much is a basement in Alberta? Alberta is an entire province that has many cities. Is there a specific city you're going to? Depending on where it is. I know that it gets more expensive in the bigger cities like the Calgarys, the Edmontons, but when it gets to like the smaller cities in Alberta, rent can be cheaper. So yeah, it depends on where you are. It depends on where you are, and yeah, what your budget is. The first thing I think is to figure out what your budget is. With your budget, you will most likely find something within the range that you're looking for. It might just not be in the choice locations, but I mean, there'll be something you can find with a realistic budget. So it depends on where you're going. If you want to be more specific, that'd be great. Is there an age limit when you want to study there? I don't believe so. No. I was following a page on Instagram recently where somebody was sharing about a 51-year-old woman that just landed in Canada to do her master. So there's no age limit. The schools are not going to disqualify you on the basis of age. It's just going to be what's your explanation like, especially if you have been out of school for a long time. You're going to need to provide extra information in your statement of purpose, just explaining why you're going back to school and what the career path you're looking to get into looks like. But on the basis of age alone, I don't believe that you can be disqualified. Okay. Okay, I'm just scrolling back to make sure I have not missed any questions. If I missed your question, please just put it back. Okay. If I missed any questions, please put it back. Okay, I don't think I've missed any questions so far. I'm just going to scroll back to make sure. What's your advice for neighborhood with avenues? Okay, I need a little more information with the question. Are you talking about Saskatoon, the avenues, the letter avenues, and what the neighborhoods are like around those avenues? I want to make sure I'm answering this question appropriately. So please, can you specify? Is this Saskatoon you're referring to? What is the job market like in Saskatoon at this time? Is the job market booming? You guys, I'm going to be honest with you. Right now, the job market is on the side of the employees. It's an employees market right now, which means that there are a lot more options. Now, the reason why I would say is I cannot actually confine it to Saskatoon because with COVID and the increase in remote work, the job market in Canada at the moment is booming. So it's not, I don't know how to specify it to Saskatoon because there are a lot of people in Saskatoon now who are working for employers outside the province. So more people are getting more jobs now. There's more availability because of that barrier that COVID has removed, which is remote work is now more prevalent. So more people have more options now. it is getting harder to find talent because the competition is a lot. I work in recruiting and I can tell you for free that there are some jobs that on a normal day you put it up for 2 weeks and you get so many applications. These days you have to repost and repost and repost before you get the same number of applications. So things are kind of tilted in favor of the employees right now. It's an employees market and the jobs are booming everywhere. If you're not finding the jobs, you want to check what your strategy is. Are you positioning yourself appropriately? Are you selling yourself the right way? Are you marketing the skills that are in demand? That all those questions you need to answer. But right now, things are kind of booming in favor of the employees. What do I think about the AIPP and pathway? Do I think getting a job from a designated employer is possible? It is possible. It's just hard. It's just hard. It's hard, but it's possible. That's what I would say. Because employers are first going to consider people who are already legally able to work in Canada because they will have to justify why they are employing from outside if people within the country don't have jobs. Because in the first year and a half of COVID, our unemployment rate hit a record high because a lot of people lost their jobs. A lot of businesses had to shut down because of COVID. So a lot of people were unemployed. It now made it harder for employers to consider candidates from outside the country. So if you're going to hire somebody who's not already in Canada, who's not already legally able to work, you have to justify why you're doing that since there are many people who are jobless within the country. So yeah, it's getting better now. The unemployment rate is dropping again because from the reports that we see, they give us like monthly updates of how many jobs people got on a monthly basis. So it's getting better now. So it might be easier now. It might be more feasible now to try to get a job from outside of Canada, but it's very possible. That's what I would say. There are people that it has worked for. It's just not as common, but it happens. Supply chain management, a good course to study with the intent to work and settle in Saskatchewan province. Supply chain is a very lucrative profession across the country, not just Saskatchewan, across the entire country. Like we have a lot of supply chain issues going on right now because with COVID, things slowed down. Like everything goes on back order for like a long time. That's what was happening. So supply chain is really lucrative. It has always been across the country and it still is now. Hey, Mama, Ado Lifestyle, welcome. How much is recommended for school fees and living expenses while coming in with 3 kids? Well, your school fees is usually placed on the website of the graduate school that you're going to. The amount of school fees is always there. And that school fees you see on the website is not that's not all that you pay. The school fees, there are other administrative fees that you pay as well. So sometimes it might be what you see on the website plus an additional 1,800 to $2,000 is what your official fees would be. Living expenses coming in with 3 children. If you're coming with 3 children without a spouse or without help, it means you're going to need childcare. And childcare is expensive here. It is not free. School is free for children of international students. So it means your children can go to school, elementary school, middle school, high school. They can go to school at no cost, but childcare is not covered. So that one you're going to have to pay. And if you're coming with 3 children, it means you need at least a 3 bedroom. Depending on the age and the sexes of your children, you're going to need at least a 2 to 3 bedroom. So with rent, with the cost of food, with childcare, sounds like it's going to be your biggest expense. If your children are under the age of 12, they cannot be left unsupervised. So put all that together. If you say you're getting a 3 bedroom apartment, the rent can be from like 1,300 and above, depending on location, and daycare can cost you upwards of $1,000. It can cost you up to that for 3 children. What am I saying? 3 children. It might cost you upwards of $1,000. I'll say it's fair, depending on the age of the children. The younger they are, the more expensive it is. So if you put all of that together, it is expensive. Nokutula, hi. Thank you for joining. Is there any university in Canada having application fee waiver? I know there are some universities in the US that have the waiver. I don't know of anyone in Canada that has the waiver. I'm going to look that up and just see. I don't know. I don't know of anyone right now that waives the application fee, because that's a huge source of revenue for them. For them to waive it, there will have to be like a distinct reason why. Where can we find samples of research projects that have already been approved for masters at the USask? I'm applying this year and I don't see clear guidelines on the project. Are you applying for a thesis-based program or a course-based program? If you're applying for a course-based program, okay, so what used to happen in the graduate school that I worked in, for course-based, you don't need a supervisor as a requirement for admission. A supervisor is assigned to you when you join the program. And when you join the program, they have their like a list of research topics that they are working on, and students get assigned to those research projects. So there's no, I don't know about already approved, like you already have research projects that's already approved before you can join. For course-based programs, I know that most of them are assigned when you join the program. For a thesis-based program, it's going to depend on what the supervisor who has accepted you is working on. Your research cannot be completely different from what your supervisor is doing, right? The reason why they are recruiting students is to recruit people who are going to join their research. So you're going to have to work on something close or what your supervisor is working on. If it's a course-based, I know that they are typically assigned. So if I haven't answered your question, please clarify what you mean. But so far, I know that's what happened. I don't know about a list of already approved research projects that you can work on. So please clarify. How do you find out if a program has postgraduate work permit program? I've applied to the U of S. So most of the provincial universities are. Most of them are. Most of the universities in Saskatchewan, in Canada, are DLIs, and they are approved for postgraduate work permit programs. Where you want to be careful is when you're applying to like the colleges, where you want to go and do like diplomas, especially if they are private. You want to double check that. Most of the universities are. The U of S for sure is a DLI and it qualifies for postgraduate work permit program. Manchester Metropolitan University is in the UK. Oh, I'm sorry, I don't have a lot of insight into university outside of Canada and some in the US. So I don't know a lot about the education system in the UK. Sorry. Can you do a video on immigrant-friendly newcomer apartments, condo, or townhouse in Saskatoon? I have. I have a couple of videos on my channel where I've done like a tour of the apartments, and in that video, I share immigrant-friendly realtors, especially in Saskatoon. The one that I did was a two-bedroom apartment from Avenue Living. I know Avenue Living is a very immigrant-friendly realtor. They give their apartments to people who are newcomers, even though at that point you don't have a job, and yeah, I might just be required to pay more than 1 month of rent, but they do take chances with newcomers. So yeah, look through my channel. I've done a tour of an apartment with Avenue Living. I've done a tour of a basement just for you to see what it looks like. So yeah, that's something I've done. I got admission into Conestoga College and I'm about to apply for visa, but everybody keeps asking me to apply a loan without my husband and apply for him when I arrive. Well, there are people who have applied on the spot with their spouses and they were able to get in. So it would depend on, do you have anything else that you can use to prove strong ties to your home country if you're applying with your spouse? If you have other options, then it might be okay to apply with them. But if you don't have any other thing that keeps you connected to your home country, it might help you first to apply a loan. But I hear that these days on the application, there's the point when they ask you, is there any other person who's going to be coming, even though they are not accompanying you in the moment? So it's like IRS is getting smart too. You can't dodge that question anymore. You'll be able to say, they're not coming immediately, but if you have intentions that a dependent is going to be joining you later on, you're better off declaring it on the application form. People usually apply first just to use their spouses and children to establish strong ties in their country. If you have something else that you can use, then it might just be okay for you to apply with your spouse. Well, it doesn't change anything really. I just don't see the difference. If you have something that you can use to establish that when I'm done with this program, I'm going back to my home country, then you can apply together. It doesn't matter. Another thing also depends on the length of your program. If you're applying for like a 9 month program and you say no, I cannot do without my husband, he has to follow me now, the visa officer might doubt that, compared to if you're doing a program that's like 2 years or 3 years. You say, okay, I see the reason why a couple cannot be apart for 2 years, right? So it's just a lot of things depend on what exactly are the circumstances surrounding what you're doing, the program that you're applying for, the school that you're applying for, how long are you guys going to be apart, all those things compare. So your letter of explanation has to do a lot of work, making sure that you're explaining everything that needs to be explained to convince the visa officer. Okay, that's what I'll say there. Can someone with a 1 year study permit start a second program immediately after the first before applying for postgraduate work permit? If you have a 1 year study permit and you finish the 1 year program, so most times they give you study permits that is commensurate with the length of the program that you're going for. If you want to start another program, you are going to need a new study permit. You're going to need to extend your study permit. If it's with the same school, you will need extension. If it's with a different school, you're going to need to apply, because two schools don't have the same DLI, right? So I don't fully understand, if you have a 1 year study permit, why you want to start a second program before applying for postgrad work permit. If the school that you're applying to is eligible for postgraduate work permit, you're going to be eligible to apply for the postgraduate work permit immediately after the 1 year program. So is there something else going on there? Do you want to provide maybe a little more information? Is there a pathway for undergrads to get PM? Do you mean permanent resident? Pathway for undergrads. Undergrads is even, it's almost more certain that undergrads get it, because when you come here and you do like a 4 year program, you are going to get at least a 3 year postgraduate work permit. And if you work for 1 year, depending on the province that you're in, you become eligible to apply for permanent residence. If you're in a province like Saskatchewan that has a viable provincial nomination program, after working for 1 year, you can apply for straight for provincial nomination and not even finish your postgraduate work permit before you become a permanent resident. So yes, there's a pathway for undergrad. Okay, yes. Extra Step CEO is agreeing with me. Settling down with kids without your partner will be hard, but it's possible. Yes. This life should be paid for, honestly, because it's info pack. Nina. Please, people should give me money, I'll take. After all, some people, after watching this free information that is packed with this information, you will still go and pay one agent. You will still go and pay agents giving free money for nothing. You guys, please don't be doing that. Do you think it's a good option for me to apply for a 1 year postgraduate diploma program in the I think you mean Saskatchewan Polytechnic, with the aim of targeting the new tech PMP pathway after graduation? For a 1 year postgraduate diploma program in Saskatchewan Polytechnic. Saskatchewan Polytechnic qualifies for postgraduate work permit program. So yes, I'll say yeah. I don't see there's no reason why not. The reason why people stay away from 1 year programs is that you're going to be under a lot of pressure to get work immediately you finish. And the work that you get for you to be able to continue on to permanent residence has to be in the area where you studied. So that's why people consider programs that are at least 2 years, so that you will get 3 year postgraduate work permit, so that you're not under pressure to find work immediately and you have only 1 year to do it. But other than that, there's no reason why you can't apply for a 1 year program. Can I apply for a study visa in Canada while waiting for PR to come? Are you already in Canada? If you are outside of the country, you are in the pool, in the permanent resident pool, can you consider the study pathway? Absolutely, you can. There's something called dual intent, like I would have mentioned earlier in the live video. There's something called dual intent. You can apply to study while you are in the pool for permanent residence. I know a lot of people that has happened to, and they were able to come in as international students, and somewhere along the line they became permanent residents, and then all they had to do was just go to the school and switch their status from international student to permanent resident, and their tuition fees was prorated from, so if for instance you've already paid your tuition for an entire semester, and 1 month into the semester you became a permanent resident, they're going to prorate the remaining 2 months or 3 months in the semester to reflect the fees of a permanent resident and not an international student. So you can absolutely apply for a study visa while you're waiting for PR. Okay. I miss your series on YouTube, especially common mistakes immigrant make. Would you want to update the series with maybe new information? That's a very good idea. I've been thinking about it. Recently, my spouse and I were talking about it. Like, I miss those series that I do on YouTube. Daniela, thank you for mentioning this. I'm definitely going to look into that again and just do something updated because, like you said, there's information that should be updated now. So, yes, I'll look into that soon. Thank you very much. Can one with a 1 year study visa immediately start a second program before applying? Okay, so it goes back to what I explained before. Is the school that you are in, is the program that you are in already eligible for postgrad work permit program? If the answer is yes, and you want to do a second program, you are going to have to extend your study permit. Your program cannot be longer than your study permit. Do you understand what I mean? You cannot, if your study permit is 1 year and the program is 1 year and you want to do a second program, you are going to need to apply for another study permit. You're going to need to apply to extend your study permit before you can continue. You cannot study if your study permit is not valid. So you will need that, the extension, and then after that, when you're done, is it the same school? It still comes back to what I asked before. Are you going to be in the same school? Are you going to be continuing on to like a longer program? If there are two different schools and they are both eligible, it's just very dicey, really. The pressure is going to be a lot for you with a 1 year study permit. It's going to be a lot. But if you're already in a program that is 2 years, with 2 years you are guaranteed, or at most a 3 year postgraduate work permit. So if it's the same school, you're continuing in the same school, it'll be easier for you to start a different program, but you're going to need to extend that study permit. That's just what I can say. If there's more to the story than you can put, you can email me and just explain exactly what's happening, because from this, either ways, you will need an extension of your study permit before you can go on to start another program. Hey, God's own, welcome. I'm autistic. I'd like to know if USask is open to us. Absolutely. Most of the schools in Canada have accommodations to accommodate students who need special help in certain areas. So trust me, you will not be the only one. You won't be the only one. In fact, I know that there are cases of even faculty members who need accommodations like this and they're able to open it up. So in that area, there's accommodation for students who need specific help in certain areas. So you'll be fine. Don't worry. Tell me about the medical administration jobs and courses and colleges that offer cheap courses. Okay, so we will need to do some research here. What province are you looking at? A lot of people don't seem to understand this part, but Canada is like a country that is made up of many countries. The provinces are independent of each other, and what is obtainable in one may not necessarily be obtainable in the other. So if you're asking me, my default is to tell you what is obtainable in Saskatchewan, because that's the one that I've experienced firsthand. Medical administration jobs are in demand. As far as there are hospitals, there are clinics, there are walk-in clinics, there are pharmacies, there are places like that where medical help is needed. A medical administrative officer is going to be needed, because that's like your first point of call when you go, well, except for pharmacies. That's like the first point of call you meet when you get to those places. There are a number of colleges that offer colleges and polytechnics that offer medical administration jobs. They are private colleges. The Saskatchewan Polytechnic in Saskatchewan is one of them that readily comes to mind. They have those courses. They are private colleges as well. The first career college that I attended in Canada when I first moved, they have a medical office administration program, and that the graduates were getting jobs with the Saskatchewan Health Authority. So those options are available. You just need to narrow down your research to where you're going to. If it's Saskatchewan, Google your options, they will come out. There are plenty of them. Okay. Oh, somebody sent me what they call it, super chat. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. I really do appreciate that. Thank you very much. What happens if you have written Duolingo and missed out on the first one? You have been asked to rewrite it. Is it a guarantee for an admission? Which school is asking you to write Duolingo? If you have written, sorry, please explain what's happening here. Like, are you trying to apply to a university in Canada and they're asking you for language test? Are you originally from a country where English is your first language, or English was like the language of instruction in the program that you took? Please just provide more information. Is it a guarantee for admission if you have been asked to rewrite it? If language is a an admission requirement, you will need to pass it before you can get the admission. If that's what you're asking, if I haven't answered the question, please clarify. Like, did they say Duolingo is accepted? Is that one of the language tests that they would accept? Please provide more information, okay, so that I'm answering that appropriately. The basement apartment will likely be in Edmonton. My budget is in the region of 500 to 600. You're most likely going to need to up that budget a bit for Edmonton. You're most likely going to need to up it a bit because that's a tight budget for Edmonton. Edmonton is a major, like, that's the capital of Alberta. It's a major city, and chances are, if you want to live in a really nice place that is not old or run down, you want to maybe up that budget a bit. It might be tight in that range. As a new I think you mean web developer without much experience, can I apply for tech jobs? Yeah, you can apply for entry level tech jobs. There are tech jobs where it's entry level. Like, if you're fresh out of studying, they don't expect that you would have had so much experience. So yeah, you should be able to apply for entry level jobs. Should be fine. Toronto School of Management told me they don't offer postgraduate work permits. That's very honest that they were upfront about it. But when I'm done schooling, they have other university partners that I can enroll for a year and be finally eligible for it. So yes, that's a pathway. That's something you can consider. If you're going to go to another program for 1 year and be eligible, but at whose expense though? Does it cover, does the amount of money you pay to Toronto School of Management cover that additional 1 year, or is that at your expense as well? If it is, then you're going to be paying double. If it's already covered as part of your tuition, then I see how that makes sense. But if you're going to have to go to one and then go and pay to another to be eligible, are you not just better off going straight to apply to that other school yourself? That's what I'll say. But if it's part of the arrangements that they have, it's already covered in your tuition, then of course I don't see any reason why you can't consider that option. The immigration questions. I knew that you guys were going to come at me, but my mouth is dry from answering many, many questions. Ah. What do I think about? Oh, I think we've answered this question. How is it easy to get a job from a designated employer? It's not impossible. It might not be very easy, but it's not impossible. I think I've answered that question before. Can you say if the express entry PMP draws for Saskatchewan are for persons already in Canada? I think you mean the Saskatchewan immigration nominee. If those draws are for people already in Canada, well, no. The provinces don't. I don't know about that, but I know that the last set of people for the draws, I know a couple of people who were nominated the last time and they are not in Canada. So I don't think Saskatchewan is specific for people already in Canada. It's the express entry draws, the CEC draws that are targeted at people already in Canada. But the provincial nominations, I don't think they are restricted to just candidates in Canada. Saskatoon, to be precise, with a budget of 1K, will a budget of 1K give me a two-bedroom apartment in a safe and a secured neighborhood? Yes, it will. It might be a basement, but it will. Normal two-bedroom apartment, yeah, I believe it will. I believe it will. I'll say yes, it will. Again, it depends on the area. There are areas in Saskatoon where the two bedroom apartment is 1,006, 1,007. There are some areas like that. While there are some other areas where with it for a three-bedroom apartment you can get 1,200. So it depends on the area, and it does not mean that because it's cheap is unsafe. That's not true. That's absolutely not true. You can get a two-bedroom in that range in a decent neighborhood. So yes, very possible. Is there a possibility of getting a university in Canada that waive application fees for PhD program? I've answered this question before. I'm not sure. I don't know of any schools that waive application fees. But if you're going for a PhD program, chances are it's going to be thesis based, which means you have a supervisor. If you have a supervisor who's going to provide funding for your tuition and pay you like a stipend for living expenses, University of Saskatchewan, for instance, the application fee I think is $90. If that's what's required for you to secure admission where every other thing is paid for, don't you think it's a fair price to pay? Like that's what I think. Like let's not stay hung up on the small things if you have already won the big one. If you have already gotten the supervisor who's going to provide funding for everything else, then $90 I don't think is too big of a price to pay. But right now I don't know of universities that agree to waive the application fee. I know some of them in the US do, but for Canada I'm not sure. I'm not sure of them at all. Are there a lot of HR positions available in Saskatoon? I'm coming to Saskatoon in July, and that's my field of study. My sister, let me give you gist. So right now, I was following a research on LinkedIn that said HR profession is now more in demand than it was pre-pandemic. The demand for HR professionals now, it is higher than what it was before the pandemic started. So there are a lot of HR positions available in the country generally. I would just advise you not to confine yourself to Saskatoon, because with remote work, you can be in Saskatoon and be working in an organization in Ontario, in Alberta, wherever. So don't confine yourself and say it must be Saskatoon specific. But right now, across the country, go on LinkedIn and see, go on Indeed and see. There are a lot of openings for HR professionals, especially in cities that are not so big, not so populated. They are looking for HR people because with remote work, a lot of these people are no longer confining themselves to those small cities. They are in the small cities, but are working for bigger organizations in the bigger provinces. So there's generally higher demand for HR professionals now. Just don't keep yourself confined to Saskatoon. Spread your tentacles. You can get a job from here that you can do remotely. What's the job market like for graduates of social work in Saskatchewan? Are you talking about graduates, internationally trained graduates? If you're internationally trained, you have to go through the certification process. I've done a video about that on my channel. I'm going to leave a link in the description box of this video when you're watching the replay, so you will see that. You're going to have to go through that certification process before you can work as a social worker in Canada, Saskatchewan precisely. And then what's the job market like? If you were trained here, of course, there are opportunities for like practicums, for like internship, for like co-op placements and things like that you can use to find your way into the job market. And of course, there are jobs after that. Again, it totally depends. As if you're a fresh graduate, bachelor's degree, you're not going to be able to access the same kind of opportunities that somebody who has a master's degree in social work can access. So yeah, there are options available if you were trained here. Is there a legitimate list where one can find designated employers who have already done the LMIA? What program does this relate to? Is it like a provincial nomination program, or what are you referring to exactly? Employers who have already done LMIA. Employers only apply for LMIA when they have identified um, a candidate that they want to apply for that's already outside the country. So is that, do they do it and keep? Please specify. I'm not sure I understand this question. What's your advice in applying for a study visa with my spouse? With my spouse temporary work permit. Can you clarify? I don't understand this question. I don't understand the question. Please clarify just so I understand. I agree with you about posting opening several times before it can be filled, because on work police you find an opening being put up many times, several weeks or even months. Man, this is what I do on a daily basis. So it's the reality on ground. Like sometimes you have to repost and repost before you find talent, and it's hard. What are the opportunities for people with experience in both finance and HR? What is your career path? What are you looking for long term? You have experience in both, but which one do you want to continue in? You can't run the two side by side. Like you can't, well, you can if you're working two different jobs. You can. What exactly does your career path look like? What do you want to continue doing? But there are opportunities for both. Finance jobs are in demand, HR professionals are in demand. You have to decide and choose one. Hi, loving the glasses. Thank you. Hi, Marina. Just a shout out from Ireland. You're doing well. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. What's your advice in applying for a study visa with my spouse? Of course, you can. I answered a question similar to this earlier, where some people don't apply with their spouses because their spouses become their proof of strong ties to their home countries. So if you have other reasons that you can provide to the visa officer to show that upon completion of your program, this reason is valid enough to take you back to your home country, then you can apply with your spouse. That's fine. Like I also said, it depends on the program. How long is this program? How long are you going to be away from your spouse? Your letter of explanation will need to do a lot of work convincing the visa officers why you are applying with your spouse, and yeah, but it's possible. That's what I would say. Can couple without kid rent a studio apartment? And is there any government accommodation for newcomers in any province? I know that there's housing that is typically for people whose joint family income is under a certain threshold. You can apply for those low cost government housing, but there's none that is specifically targeted for newcomers. Newcomers typically fall within that income threshold, because I mean, depending on the country where you're coming from, when you do the exchange compared to the Canadian dollar, your income might be reduced. But there's no one that is specifically designated for newcomers. It's just for people whose income are under a certain threshold. You can apply for that. Can you rent a studio apartment? I want to believe you mean like a one bedroom. You're a couple, yes, you can. You're a couple, yes, you can. It's when your family has reached like your family size is over a certain number, then you will not be able to. For instance, you have like four children, you can't rent a two bedroom. It will be at least a three. So couple without kids, of course, you'll be able to. Thank you, Jesus. I've been watching your videos since today. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. What's the average cost of daycare in Saskatoon? It depends on the age of the child. For children who are like I have to find the age range just to be sure that I'm not missing this. And I've done a video about this. I will link that in the description box of this video as well. So when you're doing the replay, you will find it. But it depends. And it also depends on the kind of childcare you're looking for. So there's the licensed childcare centers. Those are the ones that become eligible for like government subsidy. If you're going to get subsidy from the government, they pay directly to the childcare center. So it has to be licensed. And for that one, they are more expensive. For kids, it can range from maybe like 1,000 and above, depending on the age of the children. As they get older, it gets cheaper. And then there's also the unlicensed childcare centers. This one is typically run out of people's homes. You cannot access subsidy for those ones, and it is relatively cheaper. Depending again on the age of the child, it can cost you anywhere between $300 to $400 per child, depending on their age. For us, we use like an unlicensed childcare center, and for both of my kids, it's about what ranges from $600 for kids that their age, because I mean they're school age kids now, so it's just basically before and after school care they are using right now. For two of them, it costs upwards of about $600. So it depends. If it's licensed, definitely more expensive. Unlicensed is cheaper, but unlicensed means that it's not like they're not regulated, but it's not as strict as what it would have been in a licensed childcare center. If you're going to, whether licensed or unlicensed, they are regulated in a way that, if depending on the number of caregivers, there's only a maximum number of children you can take. So you cannot be one child care provider and you are enrolled 15 children. No, they give you the range. Like for children who are not walking, for children who are not talking, this is the maximum you can take. So they're all regulated. But one of them, because it's in somebody's house, it's basically one or two people, their eyes can only be on so many children. Do you understand what I mean? But for the license center, they have more care providers. It's more structured. That's basically what I was looking for. But the average cost can be, depending on the age of the child, can be from like $300 to $400 upwards, or $1,000 upwards, depending on the kind of childcare that you're going for. Hello from Jamaica. Hi, Rolana. Thank you. What options do skilled workers outside Canada have in relation to getting to Canada at the moment? That's a very good question. I really, really wish I could answer it, but there's so many uncertainties around the express entry process right now. From what the last update that the immigration minister gave, it just seems like we're not in the next 2 years. The focus is going to be on inbound applications, the people who are already here. So one of the most trusted ways that skilled workers can consider is the study route. That's the only one that I'm sure. That's the only one that we are sure of, that international students are going to keep coming into Canada, because again, it's a huge source of revenue. The tuition that international students pay is sometimes double or even triple, depending on the course, can be up to triple the amount that domestic students pay. So we know that the study route is always going to be open. I just don't know of anything else right now. Even provincial nominations are not guaranteed anymore. Like nothing is certain. And I understand how frustrating it can be. It's just what it is. I love your shopping along videos. Thank you very much. Is a master's in human resource management a good course in Saskatchewan? Great opportunities to grow. Yes. So the master's in human resources is a great course, no doubt. But do you already have human resources experience? Because if you know anything about Canada, there's more emphasis placed on hands-on experience than there is placed on paper certifications. Yeah. So I would not advise you to go straight to a master's degree if you don't already have HR experience. If you have experience, you're going to be able to work your way upwards with or without a master's degree. It is a nice to have, it is not a must have for the HR profession. You're better off, for me, if you already have HR experience and you're looking to advance to the next level, I will not go straight to a master's. Personally, I won't go straight to a master's. I'll consider getting the Chartered Professional in Human Resources designation, or the SHRM, the one with Human Resources Certification Institutes in the US. I'll consider those certification pathways instead of going straight to a master's. So totally depends. But I would say a master's in the profession of human resources is a nice to have. It is definitely not a must have. So think about it again before you invest that much time and resources into something that you can do without. I've been scared because of the high crime rate in Saskatchewan. How do you cope? So the crime rate is calculated per capita. It is calculated based on population, right? So it's not, it might just be, how do I explain this? I wish my husband was here. He knows how to explain this thing very well. I've been in Saskatchewan for 6 years and I don't have any security concerns. Okay, so that statistics you see is just, most of it is based on activities that happened from a small section of the entire province. That's what accounts for the crime rates that we hear. So it's not like we're walking on the road and raising our hands because they are breaking bottles. It's not that deep, really. Even that story that we hear that, oh, the West is unsafe, the East is safe in Saskatoon, like, it makes me laugh because I say it all the time. I've lived in the West the entire 6 years I've been here, and I have not had security concerns. I have lived in apartment buildings where my apartment was on the ground floor and I forget to lock my doors. I have forgotten my keys, my wallet inside my car. Nothing happened. So it's not the entire province that's unsafe. It is crime that is accounted for from certain regions in the province, and it does not spill everywhere. Okay, so it's not that bad because it is recorded per population. When you put Saskatchewan, large province but not very populated like the other big cities, it looks like the crime rate is more. But at the end of the day, everything evens out. Where is Uche? Uche was here earlier. Uche, please put a comment. I know that you understand the explanation of this thing. I don't. But no, I don't have any security concerns, to answer your question. For the AIPP right now, employers no longer have to justify taking someone from outside. Wow. I attended a webinar recently organized by the province of Nova Scotia where this was discussed. Amazing. That's good to know. And I mentioned something like this as well because the unemployment rate is not as bad as it was like a year and a half ago, where employers had to absolutely justify why they are doing that if there are so many people unemployed in Canada. It's getting a lot better now. So I'm glad to hear that it's no longer a must to justify that. Thank you very much for sharing that information. I didn't even know that. Do I have to reach out to a supervisor before applying for a master's degree at USAS? It depends on the program. Is it a thesis-based program or is it a course-based program? If it's a course-based program, you're not going to need a supervisor as a requirement for admission. If it's thesis-based, you absolutely need a supervisor as a requirement for admission. So it depends on what you're going for. Is it possible to apply? I've answered this question like multiple times. Please do well to check out the research so I can check. I can get to other questions that I haven't talked about. Okay, I've answered that question about HR and finance. Okay, people are asking for the link to the webinar. If you have it, you can put it in the comment section and I'll bring it up. How much is required as proof of funds for a student with 2 children? I've been getting conflicting information. As in, you're coming as an international student, and how much do you have to show? Well, first off, you have to show that you have enough money to cover your tuition and your living expenses for 2 children. Depending on the age of your children, if they need childcare, you're going to factor that into the amount of money you're bringing. So it's hard to actually give you an amount. They say there's a minimum, but there's no maximum. For every additional dependent population you are bringing, I heard recently on a Twitter space that I attended, somebody said for every additional dependent you're bringing, you should be looking at $4,000 to $500 for an additional dependent. So for your 2 children, that's already like $10,000 you want to put aside that would account for them. And then for you, you want to make sure you have funds that take care of your tuition, the cost of your books, for and living expenses. So you can do the math from there. I just don't know if there's a specific figure they give. They say as from, the more the better. But yeah, that's what I heard recently and it might help you as well. Except the rules of or guidelines have changed. What I do know is that if you intend to come with your family, they advise you all to apply at once. My wife applied for me and our daughter, and we all got visas. Amazing. Again, it could depend on what other strong ties to your home country you have. So all of it is going to be person specific. I don't think there's a specific rule. There are some people who have applied with their families and they all got denied. If you don't have any other thing that you're using to establish strong ties with your country, you could get denied. So the people who are applying first are using their spouse and their kid as their strong ties to the country. But like I said, recently IRCC is now asking people to indicate if there are other dependents that will be joining them later on in the program. So you're better off just being honest or finding other things that you can use as strong ties to your country, and all of you can apply together. So this is really good that, I mean, different people are sharing different experiences. Thank you very much, Kadia Ruben. I'll just stick to Ruben. I cannot pronounce the first name. Sorry. Ruben, thank you very much for sharing that. Can you talk about visiting visa on how they can stay over and become permanent resident? I don't have any information about this, I'm sorry. But as a visitor, you are not required to stay in Canada for more than 6 months, except you take a course that is under 6 months and you're able to apply for a job and you can apply for temporary work permits. That's the most that I know. That's the most that I know. But I don't know if there's a clear path that takes visitors to permanent residents. I don't know about that. That's just the most that I know about that one. Guys, we're past the 1 hour mark. I'm just going to take a few more questions and we'll begin to wrap this up because Mama has a couple of other things to do before it's time for work tomorrow. Can a business stand as home ties and land, and also getting a letter from my office that I'll be coming back to work for them? I know a couple of people that this has worked for, where their offices wrote that they were on study permit. Can a business stand? I believe so, depending on the kind of business. If it's the kind where you are the only one who is doing the business and you're going away, that will not qualify as strong ties. If it's the kind of business where you have set it up and it needs you, it needs a bit of you. It can operate without you, but there's operations going on even while you're away. Then yes, that qualifies. But like the one man business where it's just me selling stuff, they might not really buy it, but your office for sure can submit a letter. So yes, that works. Is it possible to come to? I feel like I'm recycling some of these questions. I've seen some of these questions before. Is it possible to come to Canada with two children for masters? Yes, it's going to be hard, but it's possible. I've answered this question about the Metropolitan University. I don't have insights to university in the UK. So sorry, I can't speak to that. Tina, thank you so much. I couldn't see the name at first, but I'm saying it now. Thank you so much, Tina, for the super chat. I appreciate that. A lot of people don't know about dual intent. They just need to be honest and transparent. That's the truth. I know people who have come in just saying, I'm in the express entry pool. I'm also interested in this. My intention is to remain in Canada, so I'm exploring all the options. And they came in. So just to be honest with what you're trying to do. Do you have any reliable recommended site for house hunting in Saskatoon prior to arrival? There are a number of them. A lot of people check on Kijiji. Kijiji, you have to be careful. There's Facebook Marketplace. You have to be careful as well. Before you commit any money, make sure you can get somebody on ground to go check them out. There are realtors that I know are immigrant friendly. I know that Avenue Living is one of them. They are very immigrant friendly. I know a couple of people who work with Avenue Living. If you're interested in getting connected directly with a leasing officer with Avenue Living specifically, you can send me an email. I'll put my email on the screen right now. Avenue Living is they are very fair with immigrants because they recognize that people are new and they may not have had opportunities to work. Where's the comment I just put? Let me show that on the screen. Oh my god, there's so many comments to scroll through. So many comments. Oh, no wonder I was seeing the same questions. I don't know why my scroll bar wasn't showing me the most recent questions. Do we have car financing program for newcomers in Saskatoon? Yes. I'll ask you to be very careful with this because a lot of people get into the trap in getting into these financing programs for cars that are way outside their budget. As a newcomer, it means you have not had enough time to build a proper credit history, which means you might not be getting the most favorable interest rates. What I advise is for you to start from what you can afford. If what you can afford for a car is $3,000-$4,000, you can find cars that you can buy outright for 3,400, for 3,000, 4,000, $5,000. You don't have to get into financing immediately. Really, I'll just say this car financing, especially, is a trap. Just be very wary of it. I would say if you can do without getting into it, don't get into it. Buy the car that you can afford outright, and then later when you have built credit history and you want to take advantage of the options that are available, you'll be in a better position to negotiate more favorable interest rates. So not what I advise from the start. Okay, something's going on with this my comment section. It's not showing me. Are tech jobs in demand in Saskatoon? Absolutely. Tech jobs are the golden kids in Canada right now, so you'll be in demand everywhere. Saskatoon inclusive. Extra Step CEO, thank you so much. Thank you very much for joining. Hmm. Can I defer my program if given admission for this fall 2022 to fall 2023? Absolutely. I know that that's an option that's available in the University of Saskatchewan. You can. I know some schools, they say you can defer twice, but not more than that. If you defer for more than twice, you will have to reapply. But yes, deferrals are absolutely possible. For a professional with 7 to 8 years experience practicing HR, what should be the first step in pursuing this field on or before landing in Canada? Where are you going? What is the Start to look at what the job market is like for HR professionals in the province, in the city that you're going to. Start to look at what it is. What is the requirement? Now, I take it that you're Nigerian. From your name, I see you're Nigerian. Practicing HR in Nigeria, apart from payroll, you would find that most HR professionals in Nigeria are like generalists. We do everything. But here in Canada, the different HR specialties are separate, right? In major organizations, they are all distinct departments. So you will need to figure out what area of HR is your major strength, what do you want to continue in, and find out what the requirements for you, what skills are needed for you to continue in that profession. In Nigeria, you just hear, oh, this person is in HR, which means they do recruiting, they do the employee engagement, they do all the labor relation stuff. It's the same thing. But here, all these departments are very different from each other. So figuring out which specialty you want to continue in is typically like the first step. And then after that, you want to find out what skills are in demand. What skills do you also have to build on? What soft skills is required that you don't already have? You want to start to build competencies in those areas. And if you're interested in becoming a chartered professional in human resources, which is always like a nice to have, it is not a 100% do or die. But these days, there are a lot of jobs that are getting posted that the CPHR designation is an asset. So you want to look into that as well. Look at your province, the member association of the HR certification body in your province. What is the requirement? What do they need? With your experience and with your education, where do you stand on the certification scale? What else do you have to do to advance? So it's all those questions you need to ask and narrow it down to the province you're going to. Most crime in Saskatchewan is gang on gang crime. Is very safe. God bless this person. It is gang on gang. The people that are fighting each other know each other. So it's not me. Never in their radar. I really like this question, especially because Mr. Eteng and I had this conversation yesterday. If you're not living in Saskatoon, what other province can you see your family residing in? I think it will be British Columbia because of the weather, because of how beautiful it is there. Even though they have their own issues, weather related, flooding, and those things, because the mountains surround them. But I think it'll be British Columbia. It's really beautiful, and the weather there here is amazing. I cannot go to any other prairie province. It's the same thing. Saskatchewan, Alberta, Manitoba, all of us is the same. The weather is the same there. So it's just like moving from one city to another in the same place. So yeah, definitely British Columbia. Ontario is also an option, but Ontario is a little too rowdy for me. Personally, I don't do very well in very rowdy places. So, but if I were to pick like a second option, Ontario might be on the list, but number one will be British Columbia. Does missing out on proof of English a sure way of not getting admission to the university, even if all other requirement documents are approved? Use has to be precise. The only reason why the University of Saskatchewan will insist on a proof of language proficiency is if English is not your first language, or you have taken education where English was not the primary language of instruction. In that case, it is a compulsory admission requirement. And if it is missing, you will not get admitted. Unfortunately, that's what it is. This is not a very fair comment. I should not have brought it up. Don't do that. Everybody has a right to be safe, really. And if you have heard stories of uh places where it's not safe, you don't want to now live from not safe to not safe. So Favor has a right to ask. Uzochukwu, come on, that was a savage comment. Favor wants to be safe, please. She has already had to deal with unsafe conditions where she's coming from. It's okay for her to want a place that's safe. Oh, yeah, Mr. Eteng is speaking. Crime rate is calculated based on the population. So you may see Saskatchewan's crime rates similar or higher than, say, Ontario because of population difference. Yes. And it's also what kind of crime. In Saskatchewan, I've not heard of people who go and shoot people in public or go into a school to go and shoot, like we have heard in some places in Ontario. It's always petty fights, petty knife fights among gang members. So you also have to put that into consideration as well. Is Nova Scotia provincial PMP a good immigration pathway despite the, well, yes, I would say yes. The Atlantic provinces are good options. Oh yeah, and Mr. Eteng is talking about this too. You have to ask further, what kind of crimes are we talking about? Then you realize that Saskatchewan crime type is way lower compared to larger provinces. So true. Mr. Eteng, thank you. Thank you very much. What are the safest and family-oriented areas in Saskatchewan? Okay, so I think people are confusing Saskatchewan for Saskatoon. Saskatchewan is the entire province. It is an entire province made up of many cities. So where exactly are you talking about? If you're talking about Saskatoon, what are the safest family-oriented? It's hard to answer that. I have done a video on my preferred neighborhoods in Saskatoon. You want to check that out. I'll include it in the description box as well. So check out the replay and check the description box. There'll be a link for that. Okay. Is it possible for someone to have working visa? So if you're accompanying a spouse that is studying, you get an open work permit that allows you to work. So that's one option. But if there's any other reference you're making to working visa, you want to clarify because it's hard for me to understand. Can my brother apply for a master's degree in theology with FAT scholarship? I like the emphasis on FAT. Advise me on his behalf. Well, he has to do research. Are there schools that offer a master's degree in theology? That's where you should start from. And what scholarship options are available? And how well do you meet the requirements for the scholarship? It's just research. Like, there's no, you have to look into them. What schools offer this? What are the scholarship requirements? How well do I meet the requirements and apply for it? Simple. Okay, I see you have asked another question to recommend universities. You will need to do some research on that. Just search universities that offer masters in theology in Canada and start from there, and then narrow it down to the province that you want to go to. Oh yeah, and some other people are saying don't go into debt to buy a car. No, it's absolutely not worth it. Are you going to show us more about Saskatoon in the summer? Fingers crossed I will. Not just Saskatoon. I'm hoping that I'll be able to travel more around Saskatchewan. You guys need to subscribe to this channel. You guys need to watch the videos more so that YouTube will pay us more money and we can start to fund these trips because cannot go and enter gbese because of YouTube. So please invite more people to join this channel, invite more people to watch videos. The more we're out there, the more brands will find us, and hopefully we will find a brand that can sponsor some of these trips and I can show you more cities across the province. Beyond just showing people Saskatoon, I want to see how much more of Saskatchewan I'll be able to sell to get more people to make this decision. So yes, God willing, by the grace of God, we would see more of Saskatoon in the summer. Thank you. Okay, so the thank you messages are coming in now. Thank you guys so much. I'm going to be wrapping up now. Whew. Oh, this question. For someone whose first degree is in biochemistry and works in a bank, Mr. Eteng, are you there? This sounds very personal. Can the person and is nursing in demand in Saskatchewan? Would lack of experience be a hindrance? Okay, I don't understand the second part of the question. If for somebody who has a first degree in biochemistry and works in a bank, which is very typical of how my husband's career started, that's kind of why I was laughing about that. Can the person and is nursing? Wait, are you asking if the person can get into nursing in Saskatchewan? If that's the question, then the answer is yes. You will need to go back to school. There are a couple of courses you will need to take before you get into nursing school, and you need to do the nursing program for 4 years, depending on what you want. If you want a bachelor's degree in nursing, it's 4 years. There's another diploma you can do. I think it's 2 years. Jane, if you will please put a comment in the comment section. There's another nursing program that people do that takes 2 years. That would be LPN. I think that's what it's called. Jane, my friend, I know I've talked about this. Please just help me put a comment in the comment section to clarify. So there are options that you can take. If I haven't answered your questions, please, this question, please clarify. I don't understand the second part. If you have a first degree in biochemistry and you have worked in a bank and you're interested in nursing, yes, you can absolutely do it. There are people who have been engineers that are now in nursing school to get like a bachelor's degree in nursing. You can absolutely do it. Um, so yeah, that's very possible. You will need to go back. Marina, answer me, please. Amaka, I can't see the question. If you please put it back. I don't know what's happening with the comment section. It's just stuck in a certain place, and I'm seeing the same questions come back. Please put your question again. Okay. It seems like HR and HSC roles and skill sets are closely related. Well, yes, in some organizations, like the organization I work in, health and safety is under HR. So, yes, the skills are related. These answers are awesome. Thank you for the video. Thank you very much. In one of your videos, you said you missed the opportunity to get loan of 10K for your study. So, how can someone outside Saskatchewan get the same loan? Okay, so what I think I remember what this is about. I said I did not qualify for the Saskatchewan student loans, which I found out later was not even correct information. Is the information the school that I was trying to get into told me that I don't qualify, so I looked for alternative. There were other people who came after me that qualified for Saskatchewan student loans, even though they have not been here up to 12 years. You just have to let them know that you have no intention of living in any other province until at least for that period of 3 years. So I didn't qualify for Saskatchewan student loan. I went to a different organization and applied and got a $10,000 loan that I used to take the first program that I took in Canada. I think that's what you're referring to. How can someone from outside get the same loan to study in Canada? The loan, student loan, is only available to permanent residents and Canadian citizens. So if you're not in Canada, if you're not in Saskatchewan as a permanent resident or a Canadian citizen, you cannot access the loan. And it's specific to different provinces. So in different provinces, they have their own provincial student loan applications that you can do. But I don't think it's open to people who are not in the province. Okay, so you have clarified the question. Can one apply for a degree in nursing with the same of switching careers? Is nursing in demand in Saskatchewan? Nursing is in demand in the entire country. So yes, with a first degree in biochemistry, you have worked in a bank, that's fine. You can actually go back and apply for nursing, you can. And with your first degree in biochemistry, there might be some courses that will be waived for you because you already have a science background. There are some courses that might be waived. Your pre-nursing courses might not be as many as somebody who does not have any prior science background. So yes, you can absolutely apply for nursing, and nursing is an in-demand profession in the whole country, Saskatchewan inclusive. Okay, I think that was the last question. Oh Lord, no, I lied. My scrolling is frozen again. Oh God. What's the best way to reach out to a supervisor at USAS for thesis-based program? I sent emails but did not receive replies. I have a video on my channel about how the best way to reach a supervisor. I can link that in the description. There's so many videos I will need to put in the description box. I hope I remember all of them. Um, at the end of the day, supervisors are professors who have busy lives. They manage their own correspondence. So how long it takes them to apply is totally dependent on their schedule. It depends. What kind of emails are you sending? Is your email, does your email have enough information? I would advise you to go and check out that video that I've made. And if you have more specific questions after that, you can send me an email at marina.asiri@gmail.com. I put that in the comments earlier. You can scroll through, you will find it. But overall, you can do everything right and professors will still not respond because of the volume of correspondence that they get. It's just to send the emails, be patient, follow up, and if you still don't get a reply, it might be helpful to consider an alternative. Okay. Thank you. Can you go through the please can you go through the process of taking the driving test as soon as one gets into Canada with a driver's license? I have a video on my channel, one crazy video that I did, just sharing my own How I passed my driving test video. I watched that video recently and I wasn't really like, who is this mad person? Like some days I watch my own videos back and I'm laughing at myself. But that video is very explicit on what you can do. Yes, you can absolutely take the driving test immediately, even if you come with like a Nigerian driver's license, you have 90 days, but you can take it anytime within the 90-day period. It's advisable that you take it and pass it before the 90 days expires, but you can take it anytime. But please watch that video, how I passed my driving test in Saskatoon. I explained the process there, so you get more information there, the cost and things like that. Is public health, community health, social work in demand in Saskatoon? The answer is a big yes. Not just Saskatoon. Health related generally are all in demand in the country. I've answered this question before. What an opportunity for a person with both HR and finance experience. You're going to have to narrow it down to what you want. Like, what do you want? What career path are you going for? You might not be able to do the two side by side. So pick one. What does your long-term career goal look like? Which one are you going to drop for the other? And then take on the rest. Because the certification pathways, if you're going to get professional certification in finance, it's a different process for HR. So it's not professions that you can drag together. You have to decide on which one goes, okay? I think this will be the last question I'll take and then we'll wrap this up. Can you speak about the 6-page long writing sample outlining research interest for thesis-based masters at the use ask? This is very specific. Like, is there a particular program that is asking for 6-page long writing sample? I'm not sure. This is like news to me. I've never heard this, where you are asked to write 6-page long writing sample. I'm not sure. If you want to specify, that'd be great. If you want to provide more information, you can email me as well. But I haven't heard about this before. What are the continuing education programs eligible for postgrad work permits? It totally depends on the province that you're in. Are you looking at a specific province? Are you looking at continuing education in specific areas? It has to be narrowed down. Okay, so more research is needed here. Okay. Oh, the education program is asking for a 6-page. It's asking for a 6-page long writing sample. I'm sorry, I don't really know about this. I'm just hearing about this for the first time. I'll have to look into it and see exactly what they're asking for. But okay, so before we wrap this up, I'm going to give the opportunity for one person to ask. Does anybody have a question that is not immigration and study related? Like I like the questions that was asking about what we're going to do in Saskatoon for the summer. Does anybody have a question that is not a little more about Marina and not immigration or education? Just to give one person that opportunity in case you had such plans and the comments have been overtaken by immigration. I'm just going to give one or two opportunities to answer those kind of questions. What's my take on getting PR with a 1-year certificate? Can you watch this from the beginning? I addressed that multiple times. Like a lot of people had questions about getting PR with 1-year certificate, and I addressed it. You're just going to be under pressure because with 1 year study permit, you will be eligible for 1-year postgraduate work permit program. So if you don't want to be under pressure, it might be easier for you to consider a program that is at least 2 years so that you can get up to 3 years postgraduate work permits. That's what I would say, okay? And then you might want to watch a video from the beginning because I talked about it extensively in the beginning. How's restaurants in Saskatoon? Ooh, nice question. I love exploring, and I have friends who are adventurous with food as well. So yeah, there's the high end ranges, and then there are the ones that are like not so expensive, but there's like a wide array from different kinds, from Indian to Filipino to Thai to Chinese to there are different options, and I really enjoy that. So yeah, I really like. Is it better to cook or dine out? It totally depends. If you can afford to continue to dine out, why not? But these days, cooking, cost of groceries has gone like crazy. Like cost of everything is expensive. But for me, I enjoy cooking. I enjoy a blend of both. I have a budget to dine out, and I also enjoy cooking as well. So individual preference. Which route did you take to come to Saskatchewan? I came into Canada as a what they call it, federal skilled worker. Is what now became federal express entry. So I had the option of landing anywhere in the entire country, and we chose to come to Saskatchewan. Do you plan to come to Nigeria anytime soon? Fingers crossed. Something might just be in the works, but you guys will hear about it later. You have to be subscribed to my channel to follow the gist, but something might just be planned for later this year, but not spilling anything right now. Fingers crossed. Let's see how that goes. Do you prefer living at an apartment or a house in Saskatoon? So I've lived in both. When we came, we started with an apartment, and now I live in a house. And I absolutely prefer living in a house just because of how much more personal it is and how much more space I have. So it totally depends. Your budget, your family size, that's what should depend on. That's what would determine which one you go for. Do you have African shops in Saskatoon? Absolutely, we do. I should do a video on that soon. Just talk about the options. I have a video on my channel talking about one other one. That shop is not available at the moment. Hopefully, it comes back soon and we'll have more options. I'll do a video, just sample different options and share with people where you can find African stuff in Saskatoon, because it got more difficult lately finding African stuff. What people are doing now is that they cargo. Some people are ordering African food from other provinces, or they just cargo from Nigeria. When are you coming to Nigeria? You guys chill now. I said chill. Don't worry. I'll let you people know. I'll let you guys know. Don't worry. When do children start school in Saskatoon? Grade school is 6 years old. Kindergarten is 5. That's when they start. I hear there are better shops than Costco for wholesale shopping in Saskatoon. For wholesale, I only know Real Canadian Wholesale and Costco. If there's any other one, please, somebody plug me in there as well. Oh, no, no. When you say come back to Nigeria, okay, they don't like me. No, they make come and visit now. Will I not go back? Also, you have to be giving savage answers in this video today. What's happening? Would I go and visit again? Of course, I would like to. How does online shopping work in Saskatoon? Does it work? Does it take long? Of course, online shopping works. Amazon delivers to Saskatoon. Saskatoon is a city on its own. Like, what do you mean? What do you mean? Of course, online shopping works. Just kidding. How long it takes depends on the merchant. Some of them can be 2 days, some of them can be a week. And then if you're ordering from a place like China, it could take up to 3 weeks. So totally depends. Oh, you guys. Marina is tired. How the workout session and gym going? I saw you sweating it some days back. Oh, this person follows me on Instagram. If you don't follow me on Instagram, I don't know why. I really don't know why. I'm on Instagram at Marina_Isiri. The people who are already there know that I'm on a fitness program and I've been working out every day and it's going very well. Thank you so much for asking to me. That means a lot. Thank you. When are you doing another chat with Mr. Eteng? Mr. Eteng, please answer this question yourself. When are we doing another chat, sir? Help us. Tell us when you're coming back. When are you coming back? Please come and answer. People are asking. According to my research, is that house your family own as purchase? I don't understand this question. Please clarify. If you had the option of relocating to either Canada or the UK via the study route, what country will it be? My first choice will still be Canada because of how viable the post-study pathway to permanent residence is. For the UK, it's still not very clear, but for Canada, Canada has a very clear-cut path from study, post-grad work permit, permanent resident, citizen. For the UK, it's not that clear. So if the intention is to remain in the country after you're done, I would say Canada is still the better option. Somebody said they think Saskatoon is Ikorodu. No, Saskatoon is a major city. Don't worry. Whew. Are there good biking trails in Saskatchewan? Absolutely. Mr. Eteng says soon. Okay. Is it better to live in Saskatoon than Toronto? Please, I'm not going to join this fight. Look at my hands. I'm not among. I'm not among. Well, I think both cities have their own advantages and disadvantages. It totally depends on what you want. If you rather have big hustle bustle, then Toronto is your better choice. Toronto is a hub for many things, so there are many more career opportunities there, although the competition is higher because of the population. Okay, it is more expensive than Saskatoon. Saskatoon is more laid back, more. Yeah, I enjoy the sanity of Saskatoon. I can't really do well in the really big cities. That's why Toronto is not an option for me. But both cities have their advantages and disadvantages. Did you purchase the house you're staying in now? Yes, we did. Okay. I think that's all the questions that I have time for. You guys, this was so much fun. I actually set this up so that people can actually join live, because I thought that people would have more personal questions that they wanted to come on live to ask me. But it turns out that we all got carried away with education and immigration questions. But I'm glad I've been able to answer most of your questions. So if you send me an email with any of these questions that I've answered, please consider your email responded to. Thank you very much. God bless you. Well, thank you very much, everyone, for joining today. For all the people who did super chat, thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys. We'll do this again, definitely. I'll come back. This will become a regular thing for me to come on live and answer the questions live. I really, really, really enjoy doing this today. Thank you, everybody, for joining. I'm going to be signing off here now. I have a couple of other things to do before the new week starts again. So thanks, everyone. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day and have an amazing week ahead. Thank you. Bye. Bye, everyone. Thank you.